I just want to show you why you've got to be careful buying amps off of Craigslist, and you know, the buyer says, oh, it's been looked over by a tech and no issues. Actually, on this one, the vibrato, the tremolo doesn't work. So I'll dig into that later. But new speaker, decent cabinet, caps have been replaced. Well, this is what they did. They didn't replace the 2020 can cap like they should have. I mean, even if they were going to do discrete components inside, they did it in the worst possible way with hot glue and zip ties. And here's the issue. They've got it just free floating. It's not on terminal strips. They've got the grounds all tied to that ground lug on the power transformer. And they've got the respective wires that these caps are feeding DC to just kind of jumbled where that red lead of the multimeter is. Well, I've got the negative lead of the multimeter on a transformer lug, and the multimeter set to continuity. And look what happens when I just move that wire just slightly. And that's just making a little tone in this scenario to show that there's continuity, but what that means is that there would be 300 volts DC on the chassis if that cap bundle there moves and touches the chassis, which it's prone to do. Hot glue was never going to stop that from happening. And just today's Monday, just yesterday, a teenager was playing this amp in church, and it would be a freak accident, but that's why they're called freak accidents. They happen, I mean, you could get real dangerous, deadly voltage on the chassis by doing work like this. I think people think that it's going to hold, it'll be fine, but do it right. The other thing that this tech did, which is just completely inexplicable to me, all these caps have been discharged, by the way. But they switched out the power transformer and the output transformer for, I assume they're Hammonds. They're from Tubes and More. I think that's also Amplified Parts. I think they're the same company, basically. But they took this brand new power transformer, and instead of just running the new leads to the rectifier tube, they spliced out the old leads, spliced the new leads together. And now the new leads won't reach far enough to make the connection if I wanted to make that situation. I just can't understand the logic. It took more time to splice these together and do the heat shrink and everything than it would have just been to desolder these factory connections, which frankly, this is a CBS era Fender, weren't that great anyway. I just would love to sit down and have coffee with the guy and not like berate him, but just like, what is the thought process? I'm all for J-hooking stuff too, but like, make it look nice. They replaced the cathode bypass caps, which awesome. But they just kind of left the flying leads coming up and didn't even really get a good mechanical connection, which if you're going to do a J-hook, like at least make a really strong mechanical bond and then, use solder. But, oh man, stuff like this. It's just why amp techs get a bad name. Also, and I'll need to look at the schematic, but I don't think that they've got the outside foil oriented correctly on these, because that one in particular, that .02, is going to a plate and the outside foil is facing the wrong direction. I know some people say that doesn't make a difference. I just like to do it, just because it might. And I think in amps that I've built, they've been less noisy because of that. But anyway, this floating cap bundle and these, you know, leads that are inexplicably cut and spliced, just I thought that was too crazy not to share. I'll show you the rehab of this. I've got a 2020 CE can cap that I'll put in it.